you. Would you be so kind as to put your phone on mute? Before we begin, I'm going to welcome our staff member, Ms. Michelle Congress, to say a word of prayer. Please make her welcome.
Hello, my name is Let's pray. Once let us every family come to you this morning to give you thanks, to give you praise, to give you honor. I think I thank you for today. Thank you for that we have been here one more time together. Thank you for keeping us alive and well. Thank you for health and strength this morning. Thank you for your love and your kindness to all of us, mighty God. Thank you for being there for us, mighty God, in our situation, in our ups and downs. Thank you for all the things that you have been doing in our life, mighty God. If it wasn't you, mighty God, we don't know what we would do. So that's God, just want to give you the biggest praise this morning and give you thanks this morning for each of us that we are still here, we are still alive in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. All right, so I'd like to welcome you all to the 2023 launch of the JCA Senior Cup. Firstly, I would like to thank all our clubs and parent associations, all our leading personnel here. I would like to call Mr. Ian Spencer, Director and President for St. Mary Cricket Association, to give our opening remarks.
Thank you, Lisa. So members of our clubs, members of our association, our parishes, members of the media, first of all, I just want to welcome you on behalf of our president, Mr. Billy. I just want to also offer the apologies for Mr. Henry, whatever is absent. I hope he comes in, but at the moment I'm seeing him. And also on behalf of our CEO, we know he's not that recently, so he's currently out with the planning of the funeral. So what I said, I apologize. And we really want to welcome you to the start of another year, and what I think is going to be a very exciting year of cricket. 2023 is what I'm really looking forward to. And the start of our Senior Cup cricket competition, which is, as you know, is one of the flagship competition. What we want to do this year is to really see how we can bring cricket back in terms of on the local landscape. And I think with this competition, with all 24 teams participating, and Mr. Cruikshank will give you all the details in terms of what's happening. And one point I just want to stress, we're also on the brink of seeing how we can attract more sponsorship and more viewers and more attendees to our matches. And I know we'll be making some announcements soon as to some sponsorship upcoming and some prospective sponsorship. So that all goes well for the future. But one thing we need to, and that's one thing for our clubs and parishes, that we need a stronger presence on the social media platform. A lot of the prospective sponsors are saying, well, they're really looking at to see how we can promote their products on social media landscape. So just want for this upcoming competition to really see how we can hear a lot about what's happening towards social media. So once again, we'll be along speaking, but I'm really excited to be a part of this competition. There's a lot more to come, and I just want to thank you for journeying and making it. And now I'm going to turn it back over to our chairperson.
Thank you again, Mr. Spencer. I don't know to you all, but I am excited for the Senior Cup tournament as well as the other tournaments that the JCA has upcoming for this year. So I'm going to bring the gentleman who will be informing you guys about the formats and outlines for the Senior Cup tournament. Please make welcome Mr. O'Neill Cruikshank.
Thank you very much, Alicia, and let me build the time when Lovinder's son about Gilbert, and he said, no, we can't talk, because you're gone, and I can't talk, yeah, you're back. I'm hoping that with the 2023 Senior Cup, we could say the same thing about the COVID. Now that we have come full circle and we're playing all our cricket games, we can say goodbye COVID. So I want to start there with the Senior Cup this year. We have now got back to our full schedule of cricket events, and I'm really looking forward to it. I'm hoping that the players will respond to Senior Cup this year in the way that they responded when we started the white ball cricket. Yes, I know that if you follow recent performances at the regional level, you may not think so. So, but at least there's going to be some opportunity for youngsters to put themselves in the mix for national selection with performances in the Senior Cup. So officially, the Senior Cup will begin or start on the 18th of February, which is this Saturday, and it will end on April 30th. The competition is structured basically the same way the other competitions have been structured since last year, where we're going to be playing in 4 zones, and these zones are aligned based on the county: Cornwall, Middlesex, and Surrey. Surrey, because of the number of teams that are involved, they are split in 2. So in Cornwall, we have 5 teams: St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, and Geelong. Middlesex has 6 teams: Manchester, Clarendon, GC Foster College, St. Catherine Cricket Association, St. Anne, and St. Mary. Surrey A has 7 teams: St. Thomas, Lucas, Kensington Police, Michael University Boys Club, and the St. Catherine Cricket Club. And Surrey B has 6 teams: Portland, Melbourne, Kingston St. Andrew Cricket Association, Kingston Cricket Club, JDF, and the University of the West Indies. And I know it is 2019, it was about 3 years or so. So the defending champion will be the team that last won way back in 2019. So I think that's Melbourne, as I said, the head that wears the crown, that is on East. There are 10 rounds in the Senior Cup this year, and those 10 rounds are made up of 7 rounds in the preliminary phase, and then we have the quarterfinals, quarterfinal round, the semi-final, and the final. Now, in the preliminary rounds, Cornwall and Surrey A will play. Cornwall and Surrey A with 6 matches. Surrey A has 5 teams, as I just indicated, so you're going to have a situation where teams are going to play 2 teams twice. In the case of Surrey A, they have 7 teams, so they'll be playing just a straight, everybody play each other once. Middlesex and Surrey B, they have 6 teams each, so they'll play 5 matches. But they too, they will actually be playing 7 matches. Right, so that is the breakdown of the sets of games. So in the 7 rounds, Cornwall and Surrey A will play 6 matches, each team will play 6 matches. Middlesex and Surrey B, each team in that zone will play 7 matches. Until we get to the knockout stage where the top 2 teams from each of these county zones will qualify. And the matches in the county, the matches in the quarterfinals will be played at the home venue of the teams that have won the zone. So the county matches will be played at the winner of Cornwall, the winner of Middlesex, the winner of Surrey A, and the winner of Surrey B. The semi-finals are yet to be decided, and we will await the decision as to which teams progress, and the JCA will then decide which teams will be hosting matches in the semi-final, and then the JCA will also advise on the venue that has been decided on for the final. In total, we're talking about 85 matches in this year's competition, which is an increase on what we have had before. For persons, youngsters here who have played, you would have remembered that in some cases we had teams playing those 3 matches or 4 matches. So there's a guarantee now that the minimum number of games that team will play will be 6 matches. The competition management, the JCUA and the JCA have been having discussions since last year about how we're going to move forward with cricket in Jamaica. And one of the decisions that we have come to as a group is that there's going to be, for the first time, a panel of umpires that are going to be selected, not just for the Senior Cup, but since we're talking about the Senior Cup, for the Senior Cup competition. The JCA and the JCUA will sit down, establish that panel, and every Thursday, the JCUA will submit the names of the individual umpires who will be in charge of the respective matches, and we will communicate that to the teams. Additionally, we have tried as best as we can, because we have been having some challenges over the years with the submission of match report forms. We have again decided to make that easier, and we have submitted to the JCA what those forms will now look like. Not different, but easier to manage. And we have indicated to the JCA that we must receive back those match report forms no later than the Tuesday following the completion of the match. And of course, to make sure there's compliance, we have decided that there's going to be some penalties applied. And I'm glad because I see the president of the JCUA here, so at least when he goes back to his members, he can enforce that. This year, in the last couple of years, the JCA has borne the cost for scorers, and one of the reasons why we bore the cost for scorers that we wanted to ensure that the way our scoring was done fit into the system that we were trying to operate in, where scorers could be sent quickly, and in some cases they're live to our scoring website. This year there has been a change in how the JCA has handled funding for teams, and therefore, because of that change, we're not able to single out scorers, so we're going to pay for scorers and scoring systems anymore. The clubs and parishes, by now they know what has happened with that discussion. They now have the responsibility to select and appoint and pay their own scorers. But we still insist that the scoring is to be done electronically. We do not want to go back to the paper system. Right? We want to move ahead. So I am imploring our teams to ensure that the scorers are doing their scoring electronically. Now, since the advent of electronic scoring, we have had situations where both the umpires and the scorers have been reluctant to complete the match form, because they're saying if it is done electronically, why do they have to write up the form? It's double. The truth is that that document is an official document that has legal implications. So I want to say it again, that the document must be completed and submitted. We also have the captain's report form. I'm talking about how we're managing this competition. The captain's report form, it is to be completed and sent into the JCA no later than the Tuesday following the match. We have been having some serious challenges with persons and this captain's report form. It's a very basic, very simple form. To the extent it is so simple that I believe it has been abused, where you can look at the form and you can tell which team won and which team lost. Because once you put the form there, once you see umpires getting 5, 5, 5, 4, 5 in the ratings, you know that that team won. Because in the very same match, you're going to have 2 trees, 2 trees, 2 trees because that team lost. I'm imploring the captains and the managers who have discussions with them to sit down properly and do this part of the exercise well. Because the JCA and the JCUA uses this form, one, to establish who goes on the panel. So it is important that we do this form seriously. We also use this form to assist in the determination of who goes to the West Indies lower level panels until they progress up to the West Indies senior panel. So it is very important, players, managers, that when you sit down to assess the umpire's performance, it be done properly. The other issue we have with it is that we have asked for a submission every week by the Tuesday. Match finishes the Sunday. And sometimes 2 weeks after that, we still haven't gotten it. The JC applies a penalty, and at the end of the time, we have situations where the teams are asking us to waive the penalty. It's a simple form. It's a simple exercise. Yes, we know that it is difficult not to have monies that you would have been banking on. But if you do the simple work, then you don't have to worry about that. I guess that's what we want to be talking about with this safety type of fine that we have to use for traffic or in road traffic management. The playing conditions are the code of conduct. I want to start with code of conduct for players and managers. It shocked me when we started the discussions last year, and we continued this year, that players indicated to us that they did not know that there was a thing called a player's code of conduct. But it's not code for players, code of conduct for it. And this has been around for so many years. And when I asked the player, he said, Mr. Rukshan, tell you what, don't take my word. Ask any player. Ask any player if they have ever been exposed to a player code of conduct. When I asked a couple of players, only those who represented Jamaica or had played for West Indies had ever seen or been exposed to a player conduct. Yet, this is something that we send out every year to our clubs and parishes. And it's a serious situation. One player was cited, brought before the disciplinary committee and dealt with recently under breaches of the player code of conduct that he had no idea ever existed. So when we send this information to the clubs and parishes, I know you trade Tuesday, you may have less persons on a Wednesday, you trade Thursday. On the Thursday evening, sit down with your players and go through these things. The situation exists the same way for the playing conditions. The players do not know what is in the playing conditions. Then they turn up and they give the umpires a hard time. Mind you, the umpires have their own faults. But the players need to be familiarized with what is in the playing condition and the code of conduct. We, the JCA, have undertaken consultation, a 3-day consultation process in January, where we went around the counties and we had those discussions. They weren't as well attended as we would have liked, but we believe the JCA did as best as it could to ensure that persons understood what these things were about. Every so often, members of the media, general persons in the public, and also, and more so, persons in the closer cricket circle will call me and ask me about matches. The truth is that I have often said to persons, and respectfully so, we have a cricket website that you can get all the information that you need. And not just for this year. You can do comparisons if you want against players versus players. You can look at players' records. The players themselves can go and look at what their records are. But we are not utilizing the system. And I'm here to say again that in terms of match information, you can go there and access the information in relation to any competition, not just any player in any club. Right? So that information is what I'm hoping that persons will use. Our intention is to ensure that by the Wednesday of every week, now that we have hopefully made it easy for the collection of the scoring information, that by the latest on Wednesday, we're trying to do this as early as Monday, persons can go on the website and see up-to-date statistics, running statistics, accumulated statistics of the competition. You heard mention made earlier that there may very well be an announcement about sponsorship. And I'm not going to go into it because I know there's an event tomorrow that will deal with that specifically. But what we're trying to do is that we're trying to incentivize the competition. The players, I remember last year when they participated in the T10 competition, they said, this is what we're talking about. Because after every game, there's a man of the match that had money attached to it. And yeah, I can understand why the players would have liked that. So we're looking to offer some incentives for the competition. And those, as I said, we will look to announce tomorrow where we may have support for that in the form of a sponsor. So tomorrow, the media will be here again, I understand, to deal with that particular matter. The issue of complaints is the competition. We have been challenged over the last couple of years, I'm not sure why, because we have done this so often, where we're still struggling with teams understanding how to deal with grievance or complaints occasion in a competition. The JCA has a very long-standing structure in place to competition handling, and it is there again. The JCA has a competitions and complaints committee that handles all complaints or all matters related to the competition. However, there's a stipulation. If you have a complaint, particularly about a match, you only have 48 hours within which you can lodge that complaint. And there's a reason for that, because sometimes that particular match has an impact on maybe the next match, especially if you're coming to the end of the preliminary rounds and you now have to decide who's going to go through to the quarterfinals and stuff like that. So therefore, we can't hold forever the complaint that you might have. And you yourself have to be careful, because we have seen teams that may very well think that they had a good ground on which they would have lodged their complaint, but it came to naught because the time expired. But we can't ask that on a Thursday we begin to look into a matter when a game is going to be played on Saturday. So we are asking persons to use the process that is there so that we do not have the challenges we have had in previous years. But you can also avoid some of the challenges we have had by understanding your playing conditions. Because sometimes if you understand the playing conditions and you familiarize yourself with it, you will have no need really to end up filing a complaint. But because people don't know, they end up filing and it seems frivolous. So we're asking persons, and I'm strongly advising, that we follow the protocol for the handling of complaints and grievances as laid out in the playing conditions. The JCA has continued to support our clubs and parishes in ensuring that they are best able to compete in these competitions in the senior cup. The JCA has provided all teams with playing uniforms. Last time we had a launch, someone said, but Mr. Kuchan, you can't give us one Super Cruiser and 2-game match. All right, so we listened and we gave them 2 Super Cruisers for a 2-game match. Now, we're asking particular our managers, because I think I see what happens. I was at a youngster youngster matches today. Alright, so housekeeping matter JA 4046, parked in front of the entrance. We ask the person to just move the car out of the way now, please. JA 4046, I think it's a Honda Hyundai. Could you just move the car out of the way now, please? Thank you. Right, so I know that yesterday I was at this football match and I realized that as soon as the youngster had finished batting, JCA, and this is not a JCA event, but the JCA had provided some clothing to support the schools. As the youngster got out, he went and he changed all his clothes. And I don't know what happened at the end of the match. But one of the things that I say to the players, wear the uniform that is provided. Because when it is not provided, there's a big you want to grab over the fact that, people don't have the clothes and therefore people wear whatever they have. You may find that you have made 100 or a double 100 or you have taken 5 or 8 or 10 minutes. If the media is there, they're going to ask you for an interview. We would like for you to wear your clothing provided for interview. By the way, bear in mind that we would have also provided prior warm-up clothes to all the clubs and parish teams. The balls, the JC will provide, I think, there are somewhere about place that you, for those who have to collect today. There are balls that are going to be provided. The umpire, I know that there are at least 2 umpire leadership members here. I know that the umpires have a clause or a rule, or maybe it is law, that you have to present to the team, I think, 6 new balls for which they have to choose a ball. I'm going to ask the umpires to temper that because the teams themselves may not necessarily have the amount of balls all the time. If you start with a box of ball, by the time you get to the 3rd innings, there's only going to be 4. And that is what the teams are. And bear in mind, when you go to small venues, balls are going to get lost. So we're asking the umpires, and I'm asking Mr. Hamilton and Mr. Scott to advise the umpires that temper that particular demand, because they may not always be able to meet it. The umpire fees, the JSA continue to pay umpire fees on behalf of all our members. So while our support structure has changed this year, we continue to do the best we can to ensure that our members can participate in this competition with as less cost as we possibly as we can allow them to manage. As we move to this competition, my plea is to the players. I want to say to the players that remember that you are as much a part of the cricket development process as your coach, as your manager, as the JC. It is our sport. You have a responsibility to protect by your performance, by your behavior, by your deportment. Some players do not seem to think that those things are important to them. But I'm asking the players here to report back to their team members that it is important that they understand the role they have to play. It's not just to turn up on a cricket field and goal, bad catch, and otherwise field. It is more than that. You have a role to play to protect the integrity, to protect the image of the sport. And you all know what I'm talking about. I have seen youngsters on a cricket field having to be told that they have to get their pants on. We can't be doing that on a cricket field. I see youngsters who have been provided clothing and they are stitching in the pants because they want it closer. They're stitching the shirt. Some of them cut it so it looks like the three-quarter thing. Managers, when you give these players this clothing, I am suggesting that you make it clear to them that the JCA indicated that these clothes are there for at least 2 years before they have to do what they want to do. And we have gone through that reason and rationale too often for persons not to understand. We still have a situation where managers are calling me after 2 or 3 weeks to say they want additional clothing. Why? Because a person or persons have moved on and have taken the clothing with them. The JCA has provided all the clothing that we have. We don't keep them here. We're glad to get rid of them because we want the space to keep them in here. So we give it to you all. So I am asking that persons understand that in the management of their teams, these things are important. Managers, please have that discussion with your players ahead of the season. I want to make one final appeal before I invite any questions. The JCUA and the players, captains and managers, on the first morning of the tournament will be having a quick discussion about the competition and the rules and how they are going to manage the events. That will take place on the first morning. Now, teams remember that the playing condition says that you must give the umpires the team. Now, I want to stress this. The team has a responsibility to provide the umpires with a clear team half an hour before the scheduled or rescheduled start of play. It is not the umpire who's coming and knocking on your door to say that that is so. You are to go to the umpire and declare your team. The consequences of not doing that are stated in the playing conditions. This weekend, we're going to ask that teams make themselves available to the umpires at 9 a.m. to have that half an hour session, quick briefing to discuss some matters about the handling and management of the games. I want to repeat, the teams make the captain and the manager available, and any other senior player available for a meeting with the umpires prior to the start of the competition. Once that is done, we are ready for the season. I will. Right now, at this time, I can take any questions that anybody may have. Yes.
The issue with scoring, that has always been a situation. Is there a point first? You're mentioning that information will be provided on the site. I don't know where that comes from. But is there a point first to get scored? Because we can't wait on you to come and give us score on Wednesday. That's not good. That don't make no sense to us. We need it almost instantaneously as the game is over.
That's a fair point, and thank you for raising it. You're asking where it come from?
Yes.
And it came from me. Okay, so I understand what the media is talking about. I will make a commitment here that some body or bodies will be assigned to collate those match scores at the end of each day to send to media persons. Matches generally finish at 5 o'clock, and in some cases they can go as far as 5:30. If a match is finished at 5:30, to call and get all that information from a person or persons might take a while. So certainly, by about 6:30, we're hoping that we can spread that out to the media.
Are you using that site that they use, that
Go to the www.jamaica.org and it will take you to the particular site. So you can have all this historical information and hopefully, correct, we'll get there. Any other questions? Any other questions? Last call, are there any other questions? All right. If there are no other questions, it is left for me. Okay, so some persons in Middlesex would have known this, and the president has asked me that on the fixture that came out, when you look at Middlesex, you'll see their ground to 3 days, their historical ground. The president is asking me to advise that persons make a note that it is going to be possible over, that they will play their home matches this year. Possible instead of 3 days. All right, having, yes.
Is there any way that the JCA will be able to provide like a list of home venues for each team? I mean, right across. So as at day one, we know that the Kensington and Kensington, there are any changes, because especially with the growth in rural parts, sometimes, you know, a club, a park association may have a place, a particular place last year, and this year there's a change in terms of, like, you know, appointing umpires. You would, that's so, in JCA, I'm sure would not have any information that there's a change unless someone, you know, calls. So if that can be given back to the staff of the competition, it helps everybody.
Thank you. Somebody need to hurry and give this start. Fixture. On the fixture just start. In bracket beside each team is their open. I know you just missed it. It's just that you missed it, but the fixture is done differently than we have in here. But in the bracket, it indicates the home venues. So for anybody else. So what happens is that teams there is a ruling as to how teams must come by indicating the change of venue. Again, that is in your play conditions to ensure that we don't have a situation where Friday we are told that the team is going to change a venue. There's no way the JCA will accept a venue change on a Friday, except that the circumstances are such. You may have a flooding down in Boys Town and they decide to use Lucas because Lucas is available or something like that. But we can't, it is difficult, as you heard Mr. Scott say, sometimes the appointment of umpires. The umpires may be the same geographic area, but it's a far different area. So, you know, you can't just be moving your ground around. St. Thomas for this year, they have no ground this year because their ground is now on it's called the National Development that's taking place out there. Encloses their own house. So they go here over is a longer venue that is available to them. So they play all their matches away this year until that matter can be, well, for this tournament, until their matter can be settled somewhere or another. I want to thank you all for making the effort to be here today. As usual, I really want to wish all the teams all the success. As I said, for players, I do know that